What's going on, everybody? It's Odell Bazell here. I am excited to be presenting this interview with you. If you're watching this live, what's up? If you're watching this on YouTube after we've already syndicated and gone through the interwebs and the internet streets, you're here with Getting On Marketing with Odell Bazell, and I have a very, very special guest. Somebody I consider her a friend. I don't know if she considers me, but Tracey McCain, an award-winning journalist, TV producer, amazing mother, wife, all that good stuff. Tracey, how you doing? How you feeling?
I'm doing great. And, out of all those accolades, Odell, like being called your friend and an amazing mom is the best.
Oh, well, good. I'm glad. You see how good she is for TV, y'all? Y'all see that? It's amazing. But
turn it on.
I want to jump into it. Tracey and I met years ago when I really was just getting started in my business, and she was already doing her thing on TV. Tracey, how does a young woman from little old North Carolina become an award-winning journalist, TV producer with the incredible career that you've had?
I didn't even think that this was a possibility until like midway through college. I went to University of Connecticut to become a teacher, and I didn't like it. I was in the classroom and the kids were awesome. Their mamas and daddies. Yeah, it was tough. It was tough. So I was like, you know what? I think I need to do something else. And my brother was at the radio station where he DJ'd, and my parents had given him our money. And so I had to go to the police department. I had to go to the police. I had to go to the radio station to attempt to get our funds. And while we were arguing about it, we were live on the air, and people started calling in back in the days of like call-in radio. And they were like, oh, you and your sister are amazing. And then he started asking me to come onto his show like every week. And then I was just like, you know what, maybe I'm good at this. And then I quickly exited education and went into communications and journalism. And that's where I am today. So I have to thank my big brother, I guess.
Shout out to the big bro. We know best as a big brother. We know best, even if y'all don't think so. Yeah. That's amazing. So you become a journalist. For those of you that don't know, I went to school to do what Tracey is currently doing. I don't have the patience to go up the ladder. Talk about that climb, because I mean, that you don't start out, with your own show and all that good stuff.
Right. It's just like any other organization, there's an entry period. And unfortunately, in journalism, that entry period, when I was going through it in the late 1990s, it was like $17,000 a year. So if you really wanted to do this, you had to go through all the financial struggles, because, being in Massachusetts, learning this craft and only getting paid $17,000 a year in one of the most expensive states in the Northeast was pretty hard. Thankfully, I had supportive parents, and shout out to MAC Cosmetics, because they helped me fund my career. I worked there at the counter and made more money at the MAC counter than I did at my first job. But I learned other valuable skills like how to do makeup, and hence why I look so amazing today. But yeah, that climb is crazy. I mean, you start off doing any and everything, and you're bad at it because you're so new, and your mistakes are out there for the world to see. And so it's hard. You get a lot of criticism and a lot of critique and a lot of self-critique. And then eventually it just clicks and you're like, oh, I got this. Fire where? Okay, how many people rescued here? I got this. And all of a sudden it just becomes part of the formula, part of the process. And then you learn how to speak to people and how to get, stories, and how to have people trust you. And that's something that not every journalist can do, but it came easy to me.
I love that. And you talked about the climb. You talked about putting those hours in. When people are watching this, Tracey, they're either small business owners, entrepreneurs, people that want to get known. They want more people to know who they are, or there's a subset of people that are those professionals and they want to climb up the ranks and they want to do more. And the word pitch always comes up in either of those circles. Now, you're somebody who receives a bunch of pitches. So the first part, I just want you to break down what's a good pitch to you. If you're getting an email, somebody sees you on the elevator, oh my gosh, it's Tracey McCain, I want to be on your show. What is a good pitch that either entrepreneurs or either individuals looking to get a job or get promoted in their job can use?
Right. Well, I get pitches, maybe 30 by email a day, maybe 10 phone calls, and 15 grocery store stops. I mean, I am maybe 60 pitches come my way a day, but the ones that stick out are the ones that have something that will actually benefit our community, something that hasn't been happening, or if it's relatively new and is breakthrough, or can help or solve or make me spend less time, doing one thing, and I can free up more time for my family. Something that solves a problem is something that is amazing. It doesn't necessarily have to be unique or novel, but it has to be fresh, something that maybe I haven't heard of before or heard of in that way. Or maybe it's just someone who's doing something incredible because they've had to go through a certain struggle to get to this point. And everybody loves the conqueror story, that person who succeeded despite all odds. I love those types of stories too. But when it comes to products, make me smarter, make me faster, make me better, save me time and money, I'm in.
I hope y'all heard that. She just gave you a 30-second masterclass. Hey, and one thing I love about what you said, it's not super innovative, because a lot of people think, well, I've got to come up with the new this or the next this or that. You said, made me better, made me smarter, made me faster. I love a overcoming type story. Everybody loves the underdog and stuff like that. So that's super important. You mentioned something I want to echo a little bit. You said that helps my community. And so I want to shift a little bit. If somebody is trying to get on TV in local or even national media, how can they, if they don't live in the community, how can they know about the community?
Well, that's where you have to find your in. Research the area if you're not from there, and figure out what's happening in that area and how you can work it in. So if there is a problem with runaway grocery carts, search that and see where it's happening and how your product can solve it. If that applies, you just have to do your research. It's not going to happen for you. You have to make it happen. If your product is something that, again, helps my community, makes me faster or better, or makes me smarter in some way, then you have to find the way that it can work in somebody's lives. And usually, if you're the person who's created the product, you know it better than anybody else. So you need to represent your product and your company and sell it. Tell me why I need this. If you can't tell me why I need it, it doesn't matter where you are. I don't want it.
Just like that. If you can't tell me why I need it, I don't want it. And shifting gears a little bit, when you're on the news. So you mentioned when you first started, I was bad at everything.
Yeah.
Over time, you get better. For individuals that, okay, I made the pitch, or, I got a friend, or I have a relative or somebody that's my in, and they said I can get on TV and talk about my nonprofit, or I can talk about my small business or something like that. How much should people practice?
Oh, practice is your best friend. You cannot go into this cold. You think that you know what to do. You don't know what to do. As soon as those lights are on you and you have the microphone on you and the camera's in your face, everything you thought you knew goes out the window, and you're just in survival mode. And you only have 2 minutes to put your best foot forward. So this is the ultimate elevator pitch. You need to know your product in and out. You need to know who you are in and out, because you never know what is going to be asked. Someone may not even ask you about your product or your book or whatever you're trying to pitch me until the very end. And they might say, so tell me about you. And you're like, wait, I wasn't ready to talk about me. But maybe we want to know about how you got this idea. If you've ever watched, those popular shows like Shark Tank, they come in, they talk about the product. And then one of the first things that they say is, okay, so how did you get this idea? How did you come up with this? Tell me about you. What's your background? They're not asking about the product. They want to know about you because they're trying to see if they can bet on you or if they're going to bet on the product. Or maybe it's a combination of both.
That's amazing. And nothing sells like a good story. Right. Nothing sells like a good story. And that's amazing to have those things. And that's why I believe it's important for you all watching a short commercial. You should hire somebody like Tracey to help you, because this is somebody who's been on television for years, who's had great guests and, guests that could have used some work. Yeah. And you get those 2 minutes. And right. I've been a product of Tracey's coaching. I've also been a product of, her feedback. And it's really, really important, because if you do well, then they might bring you back. They bring you back a couple of times. People say, I saw you on the news. Tell me about what you, and then that leads to business and all of that. And right. Tracey, I want to ask this for those individuals. We are in or heading towards, who knows, depending on who's reporting, a recession. Yeah. We're heading into it. Big recession, blah, 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 blah. I'm not a newscaster, so I don't know. But
is that how we say blah, 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 blah?
I don't know.
I got you.
So the job market, if I'm going to a job fair and I've got my resume in hand and I've got the booths that I'm trying to go to, what kind of pitch can people give for that? Those professionals that are looking to go to someone that is not their current employer.
So you're saying for an entrepreneur who's trying to pitch.
For somebody trying to get a job.
For the job seeker. Yeah. This is actually great because this can apply to everything. You always want to have an outline of your 3 points, always. If you are looking for a job, if you are selling a product, if you are trying to be hired or have a service, whatever the situation, you want to have your 3 points ready. Who, what, why, and if you can, how much? Okay. Price that out. But for job seekers, the employer wants to know about, who you are and what qualities you bring to the table. And they don't have a lot of time. They've got like 500 people behind you. So you've got to be quick. And if they start to drift off to see who's behind you, then you've already lost them. So you got to capture them in the first 20 seconds of your conversation. Give them your best. You know how Eddie Murphy says, this is my Mac Daddy vibe I'm giving you. You got to give it to them right up front. And that means a lot of personality, a lot of energy, nothing overbearing, but something like, hi, I'm so-and-so. Don't let them ask you, what's your name? Tell them, hi, I'm so-and-so. This is what I bring to the table. I'd like to interview for this position. Know the positions that they are already offering before you go to the table. That way you can be like, oh, I already know the positions that you have open. And I think I would be a good fit for this one. Let the employer do less work. If you do the work, then they don't have to. They don't have to explain about the different positions that they have open in the company. They don't have to ask you any questions about who you are and what qualifications. If you come to the table ready to say, hi, my name is this, and this is what I do, and this is the position I would like to apply for, you just literally set yourself apart from everybody else behind you because you're ready. And they will note that. They'll be like, oh, heck. Somebody else walks up and says oh, what's your name? And where do you come from? You're making them work too hard.
That's amazing advice. And you mentioned that word again, research. Research, knowing and being ready. A line I like to use is and it's not in the same setting, but if I'm at a trade show or something like that, like, hi, I'm Odell Bazell. I'm the one you've been waiting for.
Yes.
Like what?
Yeah.
What do you?
Yeah, it's not that Mac Daddy vibe. That's not that.
Well, I don't know where I use that from, but I'll just say it works. But
okay. Yeah.
But I want people to pay close attention as we're kind of winding this down. You mentioned research. You
Definitely.
mentioned repetition, being
Definitely.
ready. You also mentioned being somebody that solves a problem.
Yes.
It's
And makes the
so
other person
huge.
work less.
Makes the other person work less. So if you're somebody that is giving out a pitch, Tracey, I'm shifting roles a little bit.
Right.
You're somebody who wants to pitch. Do you? This is just a question and opinion. But if you're trying to get on TV, do you use a term called news hacking? Is that something that you
I've
would
never
use?
heard of it, a news hacking.
You never heard of it? You want me to explain
No.
it to you? I feel like
I probably know what it is, but go ahead.
all right. Well, this is why I'm here. I don't know if it's a thing.
Tell me what's in your world.
So it's like if something happens in the
Okay.
news, and I hate that bad things happen in the news, but an unarmed black man is killed,
Okay.
and I have a topic related to that.
Mm-hmm.
Do you use a pitch for that or no?
Yeah, so I don't call that newsroom hacking. I call that being on on topic, right?
Mm,
And that's a benefit to you if that applies to you. That's again doing your research and knowing when your services may be provided. If you become and establish yourself as an expert on a topic, then you won't have to do a lot of work further down the line because the news organization already knows this is happening. That's my guy for this. There's something happening in the financial world. That's my girl for this. There's a cooking segment and I need somebody on the show. That's my chef for this. Establish yourself as someone who is the go-to person, the expert in your field or craft. And that way you don't have to be the person who's always pitching. They'll come to you, right? So there's two kind of thoughts about how to pitch. One is, like you said, find something that's happening in the news. And if your expertise applies, then use that current event and spring forward. There's other, ways where you can kind of make the journalist guess, like headlines. Controversial, that word always sparks interest. I don't know why. Controversial author says this about unarmed men being killed. And then leave the information, and that might spark curiosity and somebody may reach out. I'm the type of journalist, I want all the information and I want it like first, like, why do I need to hire you? Or why do I need to get you on my show or publicize what you're saying? Because I don't want to have to reply and be like, tell me more. I don't want to do the work. I've done the work. Now I want you to do the work. So put it all out there for me. So those are the three kind of ways that you can go about a pitch. I think the first one, being on target, current events oriented, will really push you forward because then you have a peg that catapults you above other people who are trying to talk about things that are not happening in the news right now. That kind of like, hey, see, controversial person does this. That definitely gets the attention of a lot of people in a lot of news organizations. And I'm not saying that, I wouldn't go for it at one point or another because I have, but I tend to like the people who are like upfront about everything. So I know what I'm going to get when I talk to this person.
I love that. That's great news. We're going to stop you there before you start sending me too many invoices. I want you to tell the folks how you can serve them, for those listening, for those watching either live or recorded. Tell them how you can serve.
Yeah. So one of the things that I do is I help people, whether they're authors or entrepreneurs, innovators, establish their brand marketing. Who are you? What can you do for me? And then after I've helped you with your brand marketing, I help you craft your pitch. So you may have an amazing product that nobody's going to try because you're not pitching it the right way. And it's very important, because if you are going to improve somebody's life, that should be the first thing that you say. This will help you. You know how people always fall for those lose weight fast commercials?
Yes.
Even if you're not going to lose weight fast, the commercial is like, lose 100 pounds in 10 minutes. And you're like, yes. It's highly unlikely. But because of the way that it was pitched, you have interest. And all you need is interest. All you need is interest. You don't need sales when you're a new company or a new entrepreneur. You need interest, and that interest promotes spark. And then you get your name out there, and all of a sudden you have offers from everybody else. I kid you not. Every time I bring somebody on this show as an expert, then the competitors then call them and get them to be their experts too. And it's amazing how that stuff picks up. You know, news organizations are like, they breed on the same experts. And I don't know why, because there's so many, but I may have somebody who I found who speaks directly to what I'm saying and can talk in sound bites and knows what they're talking about. And then the other competitors will be like, oh, I need that guy. I'm like, but that's my guy. So it kind of, all you need is interest, and then it kind of rolls from there.
So turn your expertise into interest, turn your authority into interest.
Yes.
In essence, Tracey is going to help you, wherever you're looking, get known.
Yes.
So that you can get paid. Tracey McCain, I appreciate you. Everybody, if you're watching and you're looking for somebody to help you craft your pitch, make sure you go to TraceyMcCain.com and continue following us. And hey, y'all know how we do. We'll see you at the top, not from the top. Take care.
Bye, Odell.